welcome to another episode of Dropping into Happiness. We are your hosts. I am Rachel.
And I'm Maggie.
Yay! Every time. I'm going to say it every time.
See, now we need new merch with that on it.
I know, just saying yay. No, and I'm telling you, as I've been doing editing, I say absolutely a lot. So apparently that's kind of my line is absolutely. Maybe people should do a drinking game or like, little
take a sip of water.
Water drinking game. Every time I say absolutely, take a drink of your water, guys. Yes. Okay. Well, this is going to be a fun one this week. So, last week was a little, we got into the negatives and, kind of talked about a negative mindset coming out of that. But this week, I think this one is going to be a very fun one. We're going to talk about a question that we have posed to others in the past, but I think this is going to be a really fun one to talk about out loud. So the question is, if the scale did not exist, how would you gauge your success?
Dun, dun,
because I feel like, I know. I feel like so often we put all of our eggs in the scale basket, right? And then when it's not doing what we think it should do, it can absolutely turn us to a negative mindset, like thinking, oh, I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing these good things. But guys, the scale doesn't always know what's going on. So, we are going to get into this. And before I do have a little announcement, I just want to remind everybody that, the merch store is open. If you want to show your dropping into happiness love, like I have my mug, like I was like, shamelessly plugging today. I was doing that. And on the other side of this one, it says having a magical day because Maggie said so. So Yay. If you want to have a magical day every day, hop on into the merch shop. If you head on over to our Instagram page, there is a link tree in the bio. You just click that. The very top one is the merch store. So super easy to get to. And if you get any merch, take a picture, tag us, let us know. We want to see your merch and all the love and sharing. Because, we might even throw you a shout out, give you a share on our Instagram. So love, love, love it. All right. But so hopping on in. So Maggie, when I say that, does something come to your mind immediately if I say if the scale didn't exist, how would you gauge your success? What comes to you?
Yes.
Smile right now.
Yes, I love this topic. Okay. So for me, it's clothes. Okay. Before I even started my WW journey, I loved clothes. Part of my why, and I'm not even sure if I really mentioned this in episode 1 because they're like bigger fish to fry, obviously, but I was like, I want to just shop and have an easier time shopping, and I want more clothes, and I want new clothes, and I want a reason to buy more clothes. So that's a whole other rant for another day. But when
have you heard that song, Shoes? Like, that's what you're making me think of right now. Shoes.
We may have dated ourselves a little bit with that one. I think of like my high schoolers. If I said that, they would be like, what? But I know exactly what YouTube video you're talking about.
Yes.
So when I first started my journey, I had quite a few pieces of clothing that did not fit. They were too small. And when I think I was about 15 pounds down when I decided to do a full closet inventory, right? So I tried on everything in my closet, and if it was already too big, I donated it or I sold it and got rid of it because I told myself I don't need it anymore. And then if it was too small, I took pictures of me wearing the garment with it being too small. And then every few weeks or months, I would come back and try that item on again. And I would notice how it fit differently. I would take pictures so I could put them side by side and have that visual reminder. And I was like, whoa. Because even when we do have the scale and we know, oh, I'm 30 pounds down, that doesn't always click in our minds that we're what we've accomplished.
Like what's changing? Yeah. Other than the number changing, we don't really grasp everything that is changing other than that number.
Yeah. Right. I'm really changing my body composition and the way that I feel in the clothes. So I really love that. And I was so motivated by that in the beginning of my journey. And then eventually I had replaced nearly my entire closet, right? No more plus size clothing, no more 3X or 2X. And I settled into a new size for me. And for the past year or so, I've maintained within that size. And as I started strength training more, I noticed like I can fit into mediums. Even though the scale had not moved, I was like, I'm wearing size 12 pants? What? Me? Someone who is 26W in the size 12 pants? I'm having to size down even though the scale hasn't changed much. So long story short, I have a new pair of shorts that I'm looking forward to wearing. For those that are watching, these are the shorts, and I actually just took a picture in them because they're about a size or two small. nothing against the shorts. I just have never ordered shorts with like the waist number, you know?
Yeah.
So this was
Is that
another,
a
I
very
guess,
European way to start?
yeah,
Because, yeah, or like men's pants are like that. Like,
right.
I'm used to the, 10, 12, 8. And like, yeah, men are like, I wear a 34. I'm like, what does that mean?
Right. Yeah. So this was a non-scale victory in of itself that I was ordering shorts with these types of numberings, but just like a size or two too small. And
Yeah.
so I'm holding on to them and I'm going to try them on and use them as a way to track my progress outside of the scale. And I'm just so excited about it.
I've
So that is
actually
my
done that
spiel.
before. And not only did I like try them on every month to see, because they were a pair of jeans. I had at one point in time when I was younger, because this is not my first rodeo. So it was a previous time. And I had gotten down to a 12. And that was crazy low for me because I was, had gone from like an 18 to a 12. And I had put the weight back on because I went back to my bad habits, my unhealthy habits, I guess I'll say. I don't always use the word bad. And I was like, no, these were my favorite pants. I want to wear them again. And I legit
No.
hung them on the wall by my mirror. And so every day I would see them and be like, that was my goal. So it wasn't that number on the scale. It was those pants. I wanted to wear those pants again. They were my favorite pair of pants. And I would try them on every month until I got back down to them. So I like that one. I think it's a great, like you said, sometimes your body composition is going to be changing as we start to strength train, as we start getting activity and all of these different things. Like I said, the scale doesn't show those things. So being able to see our body, because I feel like you touched on too, photos and the clothing, because you're taking the photos too, because that sees it as well. Because, I mean, we've talked about this in the past, like, kind of re-inspiring ourselves. I never took full body pictures. I didn't like it. I didn't even like it from the waist up. Like, I didn't like taking pictures. So I have very few pictures. And even when when I got started in January 2020, I wouldn't take a starting photo. Because, like I said, having that negative mindset, which we talked about in the last episode, my brain legit told me, well, you've never been successful before. Why would you be this time? Like, why would you waste the time taking a starting photo? I know. So but the one, my mom, I had gone to visit my mom in Montana at one time, and she was like, oh, well, wait, look I got this one. And we were out at this one place, and she'd taken a picture of me walking towards her. And I was like, oh, see, that's why I didn't take full body pictures. But I'm glad she had one. You know what I mean? Because
it helps you see the bigger
side by
picture.
side, yes. Seeing that side by side was wild. Because, I mean, I know that I've lost a lot of weight, and I've been getting very comfortable in the skin I'm in now, though. So, like, I tend to forget sometimes, like, where I've been. And it's wild to see that. And it's funny whenever I do, like, a side-by-side online on social media or whatever, and people are like, oh, my gosh. I'm like, I feel the same way, dude. Wow. Like,
Because we were with ourselves. We were with ourselves every step of the way, so we didn't really see. And that's what I'm saying with the scale too. Even if you do have the scale and you see the number going down, you're like, yeah, well, I still have this amount to go. We just talked about that in last week's episode.
Yeah.
The bigger picture, you're like, oh, snap. So what I'm hearing and what I want to encourage is, y'all, even if you're not at your most positive mindset when you start your journey, take the pictures. You don't have to post them anywhere. You don't have to show them to anyone. Take pictures. Anytime you have a gym selfie, right?
Yeah.
Anytime you try on a new outfit, like just take the picture and save it. I even had I have a little
I love how you almost recreate your photos too. And I love that too.
I do.
So you recreate the same scenario to legit show, like, look, this is me in the same position. This is me in the same place. This is me in the same outfit.
It just
kind of
really
thing.
helps me see. So I have an album in my phone that's called Weight Loss Updates that I'll just, and I have pictures from the very beginning when I started, and it's just so cool. And it's also helpful, which I wish I would have thought to say this in last week's episode, but hopefully you listened, is that when you have those bigger picture moments and you're in a negative mindset, if you're able to look back and be like, wow, this is what I accomplished, I'm worth like sticking with it. I'm worth protecting that and to keep moving forward. So definitely pictures is a good one for sure.
Well, and for those, like I just mentioned, Maggie, those side by sides that she does, they're on her Instagram, Maggie Attracts Magic. Just putting that
I'll
out
post
there.
I'll do like a throwback for the Instagram for Dropping Into Happiness podcast. I'll share one from like I said, from my closet updates, because those are pretty fun. I still have all of them. So
well, you know what one that I'm a big Pinterest girl, and I saw this one on Pinterest like halfway through my journey, and I was kind of bummed. I wish I would have seen it at the very beginning, because I would have loved to have seen this. Have you done this? Have you heard of the string? Like the string one. Okay. It's very similar, I feel like, to the
Oh,
clothes. So yeah, just
yeah.
even if it's yarn or just like, regular string, when you first start, wrap that around wherever you want to wrap around your stomach, your arm, your hips, wherever, but always measure in the same spot. And then every month, do the string again, and then just hang them on the wall, and you can kind of see them getting shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. And I'm like, oh, I wish I would have
That's
done
really
that.
cool.
I'm a
I didn't
very
think
visual
about hanging them up
person.
and seeing them
Yeah.
like that because I was thinking you were just going to use the same string to like mark and see, but I
No,
like that
yeah.
idea though. That
Yes.
is really
Because
cool.
that
I
would
kind
be,
of want to do that moving forward since I'm so in.
I thought about
So
that too. I know, because
yeah.
I mentioned in the last podcast I'm going to be 40 this year, and so my mindset is I am currently, but I'm going to keep working on it to be the fittest I've ever been. So I like gaining my muscle. So as I start gaining muscle too, like that is going to get toner and toner. So I thought about doing that too. Mine's not going to be as dramatic, but I know I'll see a difference. And I like to see that. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like I would always have that kind of up as that reminder. I
That's
really like
cool.
that idea. I've always liked that idea. And I was like, dang it, I wish I would have done that in the very beginning. That would have been super cool to see. That
Yes,
just
I
because
agree.
I'm very, like I said, very visual. So I would love, love, love to have seen that, because it's,
Mhm.
like we were saying earlier, you don't always see it. We're with our bodies
Mhm.
every single day. So sometimes we don't recognize and we don't notice. One of the things though, that was kind of one of my aha moments when it came to my loss, my journey, was a medical report. Like going to the
Whoa,
doctor, getting
yeah.
all of my blood work done, and having the doctor look at me and tell me, I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it. I was like,
Ooh,
what? Really? Like, I had the doctor tell me they couldn't even put people on blood pressure medication to get it to that kind of level. And I was just floored, because, like I said, it was a light bulb moment for me, realizing and recognizing that it had nothing to do with the number on the scale. It had to do with how I was healing my body from the inside out, and how
yes.
all of these things that we can do, it cracks me up when people tell me, oh, all I do is walking. That's awesome.
Oh my
You know what
gosh,
I mean?
walking
Walking is
has such a
so good
huge
for
impact on the
you.
health.
Yes, and
Yes.
there's just so many things that it can do internally. I
Mhm.
had a member saying that this morning too. She was like, I'm not trying to lose anymore, but I know the benefits of keeping my activity up. I'm keeping up my 10,000 steps a day, because, as we get older, we want to maintain that muscle mass, the bone density, our lung capacity, our heart strength. And it's
Mhm.
all the things that the scale doesn't know. Like, the scale doesn't see all of that. So I love getting that medical report. I'm like, I cherish that. I'm like, can I get that printout? Can I see that? Like, can I
Yes.
have that? Because wow, it blows my mind to know that it's not just weight that you're losing, guys. You are healing. You are healing your body with the nutrition that you're putting in there, with the hydration that you're putting in there, with the activity that you're getting.
Mhm.
So that's probably one of my favorite ways to gauge success when it comes to this journey. If the scale did not exist, having those medical reports come back, so amazing. That was
Right.
probably one
So
of my favorites.
again, I would
Mhm.
encourage anyone out there who's listening and who's in the beginning stages of their journey, go get a checkup. Go get your baseline blood work done so you
Yeah.
have, because I don't have that. I wasn't great about going to the doctor for checkups, and that's a whole nother podcast probably in and of itself. But I don't have that baseline from where I started, right? And I did
hmm
end up going to the doctor about a year into my journey and having that checkup, but I just didn't have the full picture. So I'm like, dang it, kind of like how you feel about having your pictures taken. I wish I would have done some kind of baseline because it's just another way to take care of yourself, to check
hmm
in. Where am I at? That way you have that idea of where you have room for growth.
And a
So.
lot of times, like, it's called, like, because I do it every year now, it's the well woman. So basically,
Mhm,
it's just like, here, check me out, like head to toe, what's going down. And
mhm,
one of the things, like, that was my husband's big thing. He's like, I just want to make sure you're healthy. I just want to make sure you're healthy. Like, I just want to make sure you're happy and you're healthy. And so seeing those reports, like I said, because the number on the scale was awesome. Like, that was eventually, that became a byproduct for me, because I was so excited about the health, and I was so excited about the wellness, and I was so excited about all of these amazing things, because that was a big part of my why, was
mhm,
my health. I had seen way too many people in my family suffer from ailments that could have been prevented
mhm.
through diet and exercise. And
Definitely.
so to have that validity of you are doing good things to your body, like,
Right.
oh yes, that was a good
It
one.
feels so good. It
I
feels so
know.
good. I will say another way to kind of track progress outside of the scale is through your activity.
Hmm.
I think activity can be such a motivating pillar because, we had a whole conversation about non-scale victories, right?
Hmm.
And I think there are so many benchmarks you can experience in activity that don't need the scale, like walking more steps, running a faster mile, lifting heavier weights, doing more sit-ups. Like, you are taking care of your health, you are improving your cardiovascular health, your bone density, all of those things that
Yeah.
you mentioned, right? So keeping track of that, making sure that you're logging those efforts, knowing
Yes.
what those benchmarks are, so you have that information to look back on. I think that's really important as well.
I'm actually going to give a member a shout out right now because I feel like he's putting in the dedication, and him and I even talked about that the other day. It's been pure dedication that I've been seeing in him, and so that's member Russell. I believe you know Russell.
Yes,
Russell
Russell, he's
is
working on his 5K.
yes, and I love that he's documenting it though. He's documenting it in video. He's putting it on Instagram. Probably more for himself than for others. But I
Mhm.
love that he is documenting that, and the circumstances that he's in, and this is how I did today, and this is how I'm feeling about it today. And
Mhm.
it's funny because I feel like he doesn't give himself enough like praise for how amazing he's doing. But I
Right.
love that. I love that he, like you said, like putting it down, putting it somewhere, tracking it so you can see how you're going. So you can see, okay, I did this much better than last time. Because you do that with your running. I love when
Yeah.
you do your marathon, you're like, cool, that was, this much faster than it was the last time. Because
Mhm.
you
Right.
have that, you tracked
The
it. You
data.
know, yeah. So,
Yeah.
because if we don't know, then, because we tell people that all the time when we set goals, like if you say, oh, I want to drink more water, what does that look like? How much?
Mhm.
How much water? How much were you drinking last week? So how we know what does more look like. So yeah, having a baseline, I think, is for no matter what kind of way that you want to track your wellness and your health, because sometimes our goal is to maintain that. And
Mhm.
but same concept. If the scale did not exist, how would you know that you were maintaining? How would you
Mhm.
know that you were still on course, on track, doing good? And
Yeah.
yeah, but these are fun. Like
Yeah.
I love these kinds of things because like we said, we talked about non-scale victories a while back, and it's very similar, right? It's very similar. Those
Mhm.
non-scale victories are those little victories that we see all the time that we
Right.
can celebrate.
Yeah.
And all of these things are, how our clothes are fitting,
Yeah.
how what the doctor says about, because I've seen members have A1C levels come down. Like I said, my mom is no longer on not blood pressure, her blood sugar medication because of the way that she's been handling her wellness and her eating.
Yeah.
And those things too, if she never got on the scale, she could see that success just from those right there.
Right. I
Yeah.
think the difference in our conversation from our non-scale victories to today is the documentation,
Hmm.
right? Because you can have a non-scale victory moment where you're like, oh my gosh, I put on these shoes a lot more easily than I did in the
Yeah.
past, right? And that's kind of like where you recognize it, you're like, yay, and then you move on. Where
Yeah.
it's like these are like your consistent, like the scale is data. We weigh in week to week to
Hmm.
week. This is all data. These are all statistics, right? These are a bigger picture. Like, I have these pictures. That's data. I know that on week 2, this is what I look like in these shorts. And I know that on week
Yes.
12, they looked completely differently,
Yep.
right? And I think that's the defining line here,
And you know what's
is that
funny is I
we're
don't know if I would have
documenting these
recognized that. So
things.
I
Well,
like
and
that
I
you
was just
laid
kind of
that
like, I was trying to be like, I
out.
know there's a big difference between
Yes.
what we talked about before and what we're talking about today. And I'm like, it's the documentation of
It
it.
is.
It's
Yeah.
having that data to follow up on, to look back and
Yeah.
because I talked to some members in workshop recently, it's like we don't need the scale to know if we're
Mm-mm.
following the plan, right? We don't. We know if we're tracking 100%. Honestly,
Yeah.
we know if we're getting blue dots. We know if we're getting in our activity, and that's all data, right?
Hmm.
The scale is just one piece of data.
Yeah.
We have all of this other data to know, oh, I'm changing my lifestyle versus, like we were talking about last week, are we being complacent? Are we on autopilot, right? And then
Yeah.
we're getting on the scale and we're like, why is the scale not doing what we want it to do? Well,
Yeah.
Check in. Are
Yeah.
you being complacent or not?
I know.
Right?
I feel like sometimes when we think about our journey and we're like, oh, I got to write all this down. Why are we doing that? Well, this is why, right? This is why. So we have the documentation. So we can re-inspire ourselves. We can see those goals that we're hitting and that we're crushing. Yeah, that was a great way of describing what's the difference between an NSV and recognizing your success without the scale. That was a great way of describing that. I like that. Because like I said, I was thinking, I don't really, they're very, very similar, but yes, data, knowing what you did, knowing where you're going. Absolutely. Because like you said, like an NSV, I had a member this week who her win, and it was so adorable. She was like, I crossed my legs without assisting myself. And I didn't recognize it until after I had done it. And I was like, oh my gosh.
That's exciting. Write it down. On this day, I crossed my legs. Right?
Documentation. Absolutely. I love that.
Very big.
Sigh. I know. Well, and so guys, a couple episodes ago, we actually did a whole episode on, mantras, inspiring words. And that was something I wanted to start asking you guys for. I would love if you guys would, you could email us at droppingintohappiness@gmail.com. You can get on our Instagram, Dropping Into Happiness Pod, and drop us a line. Let us know what your favorite mantra, what your favorite mantra, what your most inspiring words are. And we will give you a shout out because I actually have one today from a listener that I love. So I want to share them every episode. So at the end of every episode, I want to start doing that. I want to wrap up with a mantra or
I have
inspiring
a couple
words.
too. I have a couple as well, but I'm trying to get better at writing things down in an actual notebook and not on random Post-it notes. But I didn't write the members' names down, which is kind of unhelpful, but I'm going to share them anyway, if that's okay. And I will reinstate that these are not my own quotes. They are not my own mantras, but they spoke to me so intensely that I had to write them down. And Rachel knows in a workshop, it's hard to multitask. So I was like trying to write it and then
I know. Sometimes I'll say that.
workshop.
I'm like, hold on, I'm writing this down. Like I will absolutely say it.
I need to get better at writing the member's name down and not relying on
well, guys, and just FYI, Maggie is getting better because I've gotten her to start using her Google Calendar.
Yeah. When Rachel and I set an appointment to record, it goes in the calendar, y'all.
Notifications, it's in there.
I'm improving. 2022.
You are big time. Absolutely. Okay, do you want to start with yours and then I'll wrap up with the one that was submitted to us through our Dropping Into Happiness Instagram?
I have two different ones. So this one's pretty intense. It was like a mic drop moment and it doesn't tie in necessarily with our conversation today. But are you interested in losing weight or are you committed to losing weight?
Right? What?
Read us.
Yeah,
Remember, that was so intense.
Yeah.
And then the second one, never assume future me is going to be better than present me. So I know this was one we were talking about the self-compassion with no follow-up plan.
Yeah.
So like I'll deal with that later. It's like, why are you assuming that in 2 days or a week or a month you're gonna all of a sudden have it all together? Like just start right now and present you. And I was like, wow. Wrote it down as fast as possible.
Yes. So that's amazing.
Two big ones. We need to put those on Instagram. We need to save like a mantra highlight.
Right. Maybe we should do that. I'm taking notes. Right. Yeah, we should absolutely do that. I like that.
Y'all didn't know you were here for a brainstorming session, but that just happens sometimes.
Especially if we're going to start having them every week. I think that would be a really, really good one. So we'll keep these collectively. So we'll start putting these as stories and have a story collection. So, but the one that was submitted, and I feel like this person is going to be very excited that we mentioned them on the podcast. So member Chrissy submitted this to me, and I really like it. I do think it kind of goes along with our topic today. So this was submitted through our Instagram. So the quote is, "The only person who decides how successful you become is you."
Mic drop.
I know, and that is from Dhar Mann, and he actually she I guess she listens to his YouTube channel, and he's an entrepreneur. He's very inspirational, and so that was one that had spoken to her. So she was like, "I really want to share this one." So the only person who decides how successful you become is you.
Yes, thank you, Chrissy. That's a good one.
I know. Okay, well, so now getting into our star goals and our recommendations for this week. So my star goal this week is I'm absolutely going to celebrate an NSV. I don't think I always do that, and I need to. I want to either write it down. Maybe I'll post it on Instagram. Like when I want to absolutely, so by Sunday, I want to celebrate a non-scale victory. I want to look back at my week and say, this is something I was proud of. This is something I'm going to celebrate. So that's my star goal for this week. But my recommendation for all y'all is celebrate. I want you to celebrate things. I want you to celebrate anything, no matter how big, no matter how small. I want you to celebrate things. I want you, like we said, I want you to celebrate crossing your legs. I want you to celebrate, taking the 30 minutes to listen to the podcast just to get yourself in the right mindset. I want you to celebrate this week. So celebrate something, no matter big, no matter how
horn.
Small. Yes,
toot, toot.
100%. Wait, I'll do it. Absolutely. I just have to throw that in
there. My goal for the week, my star goal. So last week's episode, I talked about how I'm creating some guidelines with myself and with fast food breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
This week, I'm continuing that focus and adding on the guideline of 2 meals out with Seth. So this could be sitting down at the restaurant or takeout. But again, y'all know if you listened to last week's podcast, I was in the yes, yes, yes mentality, and I needed to set some specific guidelines. So if he asks me to go out to eat last minute and I've hit my 2-a-week quota, I will have to say, no, thank you. Next week, we're on, right?
I like well, that's specific,
that's
right? We talk about stars, making it specific so you know when you've hit it or not. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like it. Yay. And what was your is that your recommendation?
Oh, my recommendation, take the photos.
Yes.
Take pictures. Again, you don't have to post them anywhere. You don't have to share them with anyone. Create a little folder in your phone. Keep them organized so that as you progress through your journey, you can reflect back, have that bigger picture moment, because it's really exciting. So, take the picture.
Definitely.
All right, if you want to post them, tag us because I want to see them.
I would love to see. I would love to see that. So definitely tag us, share the love. We will, like I said, if you guys ever want to give us some inspiring words, a mantra, something that we can maybe share in a podcast, in a future podcast, you can get onto our Instagram, dropping into happiness pod. We do have an email, just dropping into happiness@gmail.com. You can send it either way. You can hop on our website. You can go through there. So a lot of different ways you can get a hold of us, contact us, and we will give you a shout out and we will say your quote and we will add it to our highlight, which I'm absolutely going to do this week. So absolutely, I'm going to put it on there this week. Seriously, hopefully you guys have been drinking a lot of water.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, thanks for dropping by.
And you have a magical day. Bye.
Thank you.